Harambee! Neno hili si hivyo. Mambo ni matatu.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome back to our channel once again. Rigathi Gachagua, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa were in Murang'a County yesterday for a burial. And Rigathi Gachagua dropped some bombshell.
Ruto na watu yake wanamulika mimi sana kwa sababu ya hii mlima Kenya. Najua hii mlima iko na kula milioni 6. Na vile ninaona itaenda milioni 8. Na hii kula imeamua. Haijaamua itachagua nani, lakini imeamua na nani itafukuza.
As usual, Rigathi Gachagua took the opportunity to sell their agenda.
This election that is coming, I want to assure you, Dr. Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, take it from me, speaking from the mountain. Hii kura ya mlima itaenda kikapu moja.
But he also revealed William Ruto's dark strategy for 2027. And that strategy involves Mount Kenya strategy. I want you guys to listen to Rigathi Gachagua very closely. Because in this video, I want us to analyze what Rigathi Gachagua is actually trying to say and whether that strategy William Ruto is planning to use will be effective or not.
Ruto is cornered from the mountain, from Lower Eastern, from Western, Nairobi, Coast, he is cornered. Amejipata bahali Moi alijipata 1992. Moi had been cornered in 1992. Lakini akakuwa mjanja sana. Na sisi hatukuwa tumerevuka. Akakuja hapa mlimani. Hii kura ya mlima ilikuwa imemkataa yote vile imekataa William Ruto leo. Akapanga jama akajua ndio nipite. Lazima nigawanya hii mlima. Lazima nifanye kila kitu nigawanya hii mlima. Akafanya yake na wazee na nani na intelligence. Matiba akasimama. Akapata watu yote ya Murang'a, Kiambu, Nairobi na Nakuru. Kibaki akasimama akapata kura ya Nyeri, Kirinyaga, Laikipia, Meru and Embu. Jaramogi akasimama akapata ya Nyanza. Matiba akapata 1.4 million. Kibaki akapata 1 million. Jaramogi akapata 900,000. Ukijumulisha yote 3.3 million. Moi akapata 1.9 akawashinda wote. That is what happened. Hatu kuerevuka.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Rigathi Gachagua. And according to Rigathi Gachagua, William Ruto is planning to use the strategy which the former president Daniel Toroitich arap Moi used effectively in 1992. For those who've been following the 1992 politics, some of us were still very, very young. The former president won that race by around 35%. But he was able to do that by ensuring that the opposition were actually divided. Moi ensured that Jaramogi was on the ballot, Kibaki was on the ballot, and Matiba was also on the ballot. And that's how he was able to split the votes for the opposition. For the opposition to win in 2027, they must ensure that they are united. But even at that event, something was very clear. The absence of one man, Fred Okengo Matiangi. Why do you think Matiangi was absent in an event or in a burial which was attended by the rest of the opposition? Probably that's what Rigathi Gachagua was trying to refer to. But for me, I have the following to say about that Rigathi Gachagua statement. Before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, allow me to dive in. Now, I listened very closely to Rigathi Gachagua. And this is what Rigathi Gachagua is saying in that video. For me, number one, it is Rigathi Gachagua's strategy to lock out other Mount Kenya leaders from emerging in Mount Kenya. And the choice of Muranga is significant because in Muranga, there's a gentleman by the name Ndindi Nyoro who is emerging very strongly. And Rigathi Gachagua has referred to him as a wheelbarrow. I'm not so sure about Ndindi Nyoro's game plan, whether it will be on the ballot or not. But Rigathi Gachagua's statement is actually meant to target someone like Ndindi Nyoro, who is emerging.
I want to remind Ndindi Nyoro, there was also his Muranga counterpart, a leader who was the best in the country in the management of CDF. He was called Peter Kenneth. But somehow, Peter Kenneth miscalculated politically. And now, hakuna mtu anajua Peter Kenneth anakuaga wapi. Anatokaga 2 years towards the election, ndio Peter Kenneth ametoka, anajaribu 1, 2, 3, then arudi kwa mashimo. I'm saying that because right now, there is rumor that Dede is Ruto's project in Mount Kenya region. And in fact, even today, some of people say that he confirmed their fears. Because if you look at the press statement that he calls you to issue a press briefing from yesterday, nimekuwa nikiona watu wake wakisema ataongea. Now when he today talked, you could hardly pick anything he said about it. In fact, it was so empty, the whole talk. Mpaka watu wakashindwa, why are you calling the press briefing? For what? Because it had nothing. Ndindi Nyoro ni watu ambao walikuwa, he was being taunted to be like a Kibaki. Just Peter Kenneth alikuwa taunted to be a Kibaki for managing CDF very well. Ndindi Nyoro uko in that scenario. Ndindi Nyoro just know that in Muranga right now, Irungu Kangata ameweka akokadi.
And it's also meant to stop someone like Uhuru Kenyatta, who is pushing for Fred Okengo Matiangi. And that's why he's trying to bring back that memory of 1992. Remember, in Mount Kenya, as we speak today, there is no clear presidential candidate. In 1992, Matiba was there, Kibaki was there. So why would he try to link the two? Simple. He's trying to lock out any emerging leader from the mountain from emerging. That's number one. Number two, I'm also looking at it as part of Rigathi Gachagua's elaborate strategy to incite the mountain against Uhuru Kenyatta and Fred Okengo Matiangi. There's one thing which I keep on repeating on this platform, that as far as Mount Kenya politics is concerned, Rigathi Gachagua has got it right. But the truth of the matter is that if Rigathi Gachagua were to present himself as a presidential candidate, the mountain might not really vote for him. And if Rigathi is not on the ballot, there's the high chance that the mountain might go with Fred Okengo Matiangi. And who is pushing for Fred Okengo Matiangi? The person pushing for Okengo Matiangi is none other than Uhuru Kenyatta. So by suggesting that Ruto is using Moi's 1992 strategy, Rigathi is trying to imply that Fred Matiangi is a project of President Ruto, that he's using Uhuru Kenyatta to front Matiangi. And by doing that, he's trying to incite the mountain against Uhuru Matiangi in Mount Kenya. Number three, I'm also looking at it as a reverse psychology. Rigathi intends to unite the mountain, and not just to unite them against one man, William Samoei Arap Ruto. Then how can he unite the mountain against Ruto? Simple. Rally them around a single presidential candidate. And who is that presidential candidate? I think Rigathi Gachagua's candidate is now very clear. Kalonzo Musyoka is that candidate. So which means even if Matiangi were to emerge the other side, is going to project him as a project. What I'm not so sure about, especially after the Mbere by election, is whether the mountain is fully behind Rigathi or the mountain is still with William Ruto. Maybe you could help me. Is Mount Kenya with Rigathi or is Mount Kenya with Ruto? And if Mount Kenya is with Rigathi, why did they vote for William Ruto's candidate? I know rigging took place, but rigging can only happen where there's an opportunity. But the strategy here is using reverse psychology. tell the mountain that, Ruto is trying to divide the mountain, is coming up with several wheelbarrows. Already there's a red wheelbarrow, so there's a blue wheelbarrow, there are several other wheelbarrows he's bringing. But let us rally around this candidate. Number 4, it could also be about the Mount Kenya succession politics. Ladies and gentlemen, let us agree. Who is Mount Kenya kingpin as we speak? Is that person Rigathi? Is that person Uhuru? Is that person Kindiki? Because after winning in Mbere, Kindiki is now emerging as the kingpin. The truth is, politically, Rigathi Gachagua is the Mount Kenya kingpin. But Rigathi Gachagua has told us on many occasions that he recognizes Uhuru Kenyatta as the kingpin. But Uhuru Kenyatta is clearly a man on a different mission. Uhuru is pushing for his own candidate. And that's not sitting well with Rigathi Gachagua. And therefore, Rigathi Gachagua is also laying claim to Mount Kenya kingpin. In fact, he's opined on many occasions that he is their leader. And lastly, there's something which I keep on saying on this platform. I don't know whether it will materialize or I could be wrong. There's the possibility of Mount Kenya producing a presidential candidate in 2027. That's why I want you guys to monitor the moves and the activities of Ndindi Nyoro very closely. And even if Mount Kenya will not produce a presidential candidate, Rigathi is going to front Kalonzo as Mount Kenya presidential candidate. Uhuru is also going to front Matiangi as Mount Kenya presidential candidate. This is where Rigathi was heading to. Who will Mount Kenya embrace as their presidential candidate? So that if an individual from the mountain will be running for the presidency, they'll be locked out through this kind of incitement. But a presidential candidate will have to come owned by Mount Kenya. Either Matiangi or Kalonzo. So I don't know what you think. But for me, I think the idea of Rigathi suggesting that Ruto is using the 1992 playbook as his strategy, in my view, was just intended to incite the mountain, a strategy to lock out other presidential candidates, people like Ndindi Nyoro. It's about Mount Kenya succession politics. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. If you've watched this video up to this stage, please just know from the bottom of my heart, I'm very thankful, and please don't forget to drop your comments, and also ensure, if you can, share this video, because that's the best way you can support this channel. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. And of course, you know how you normally do it. Comment section. Present. Bye-bye.